Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It Down. Let's talk to some folks, starting with Woljif. A Woljif gives you a friendly wave. Hey Chief, want to talk? What do you think of my new powers? Woljif pauses to think, rubbing his chin. You mean what you did back there? I have a few ideas. We could send you to a Patak's underground arena to fight. Give you a scary name like Swift Sting or something like that. Give you a great cover story. Enemies burn down your house, you're avenging your dead family. Public eats that stuff up. You wear a shiny, eye-catching outfit. Or a black one if you like black better. We'll split the prize money 60-40. 60 for me, of course. You know, arranging fights isn't easy. Those people are tough. I'll be taking more risk than you. And after we get set up in Patak's, we'll tour different cities. Make some real money. What? You don't like the sound of it? Do you have any other suggestions? Woljif grins, his yellow eyes lighting up. I got one more. Have you heard of Razmirin? It's some land in the River Kingdoms ruled by a King Razmir. A friend of mine used to live in Razmirin. He got out of there as fast as he could. Long story short, this King Razmir of theirs is a god. Well, a level 17 wizard. He keeps his people under his heel. They're all terrified of what he might do. He sits on his throne wearing some white mask, giving power to anyone. Come and take power from me, he says, so long as you believe in me. Woljif quickly checks that no one is eavesdropping. But that friend of mine, the one who fled, has a half-sister on his old man's side who's a cook in the castle, and a washwoman who the cook plays cards with in the evenings told her a juicy rumor. Word is, Razmir isn't a real god at all, and he's got no powers. So here's my point. You do have powers. Pretty scary ones too. We'll find some shabby little kingdom. I'll start some rumors. You show off a few tricks to wow the locals. And that's it. We'll make you a deity. But first I want you to put in writing that I'll be your chief advisor. I'm not doing anything just on the nod. I've been there. People promise you mountains of gold. And then when it comes to it, they're all, get lost. Or I'll set the dogs on you. So, you like the idea? Call myself a god and deceive people. That's disgusting. Cleaning privies is disgusting. Deceiving the entire kingdom is an art. You're not appreciating what it is I'm offering you, Chief. I don't make offers like that to just anyone you know. Oh, there's a blacksmith here. He doesn't say anything. He just sells generic equipment.
I'm gone.
Theodore Hawkblade. Commander. A tall man with piercing yellow-green eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title and thank you for your time in advance. I am Theodore Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iomedae, the bringer of light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count Darren Arenday. Are you one of Prelate Holburn's followers? Theodore's face freezes for a moment, but he nods. Yes, of course. What is your opinion on his atrocities? Theodore is silent for a while. Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Holburn's side to learn how to keep him from going over the line. The Prelate is an extraordinary man, but he has fallen prey to his own paranoia, a monumental sense of responsibility, which has gradually eroded his razor-sharp mind. He has witnessed so much hideous darkness that he now sees it in every shadow. Yet his strength was, and still is, a shield for all the people of Mendev. That is my opinion. His comrades and advisors are necessary to prevent him from making unforgivable mistakes. Where were you during the attack on Canabras? I was on the hunt. A very successful one, but, as often happens in life, this minor success was a mere harbinger of a larger failure. If I had been so far away from Canabras on the day of the attack, I might have been able to help my comrades and prevent a number of deaths. Thank you for your answer. It is not an easy topic for me. I prefer not to discuss this again. What brings you here? I ask you to assist the Church of Iomedae in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I'm calling upon you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in his thoughts for a moment. I suppose that you've already heard about Count Arenday's story. I refer to the tragedy at the Heaven's Gate estate. Tell me what happened at Heaven's Gate Edge. Did I say Heaven's Gate? Heaven's Edge estate. About 10 years ago, several powerful demons managed to penetrate the Wardstone barrier and commit mass murder of all the guests who attended the feast in celebration of young Darren's birthday. The unknown magical disease they had brought wiped out the whole estate in less than a day. That was not a unique case in itself. The demons had attempted such raids on Mendevian lands before, but they never dared target such a well-protected place. The Arenday family was exceptionally rich. The estate was protected by elite bodyguards. There were several strong and righteous paladins among the guests. Moreover, the revered Nestrin, Darren's tutor, was one of the most powerful priests of Iomedae in the vicinity. All of them died, nonetheless, except for the young Count, who had suddenly manifested his outstanding sacred healing powers. Was that a divine miracle or a curse? That remains to be seen. You're going to investigate this old case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared account of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev before the World Wound. And yet, on that day, it turned into a labyrinthine house of horrors, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression. I wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Canabras for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demons dead, with their heads cut off, when we got into the estate. How were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the estate, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the Holy Warrior's defenses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy at Heaven's Edge? You're the only person who can help me here, Commander, because the only living witness of those events is currently serving in your army. The army's route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all these years, and only the Count has the power to break that seal. He is unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case, he won't like me sniffing around his family seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he'll be obliged to fulfill it, and I'll simply follow you as one of your attendants. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and myriad loopholes in human lives that the forces of evil can use to their advantage. I'm not sure which one of those led the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. You've already been to the estate several times. What do you expect to find now? I was a young and inexperienced Inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. The Order makes a vague gesture, pointing at his scars. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about people and events. Almost all of them require me to be physically present in the place where the event in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you just search the estate yourself, without involving me? The estate is abandoned and sealed with powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arenday is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house even if I found a way to bypass the spells. This is a serious matter. The Order frowns. A matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomedae, and my own organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade, and are still dealing with their consequences. Your presence would give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring an independent third-party investigator to this case. Someone independent, but well-respected. He fit this role perfectly. Did you question Darren himself? I did, but the Count insisted he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demons at the very beginning, when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and mock their victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Countess Selena. That was all he would tell me. The Elder pauses. We found the young Count sleeping like a log on the floor in one of the rear chambers, having drunk about half the family wine cellar all by himself. There was no reason to disbelieve him on that matter. So you suspect that Darren is hiding something? That he is to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions, so that it doesn't affect the investigation. There's a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arendae wasn't suffering from demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Prelate Holborn himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry with him. Fine, I will help you. What do you need me to do? Leota bows his head to you with exceptional reverence. Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak to the Count and tell him that you wish to see Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I'll join your escort when it is time to travel to the estate. When we get there, I'll also require your help during the investigation. You'll have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I will remain here for a while. I'd like to discuss your investigation and the events at Heaven's Edge again. Naturally, I'll tell you everything you wish to know. I have no more questions. Of course. Tell me more about yourself, Inquisitor. I want to know who I'm dealing with. I'm elfin by birth, but I've lived in Mendev for most of my life, dedicating myself to the service of the Inheritor. My warrior brethren mostly worship Gorum, but I've never been eager to fight for the sake of battle alone. I was a good fighter in my early youth, and could easily best most of my peers. But I didn't enjoy showing off my skills. Victory is bland on its own. Purpose adds flavor to war. I can't say that I've always been a faithful sword of Iomedae. Back in my mercenary days, they brought me to the borders of Mendev, where I spent quite a long time among the Crusaders. Fighting shoulder to shoulder with my righteous comrades in arms, and watching demons commit their atrocities, eventually led me to something I had been seeking my whole life: purpose and faith. That is how I found my calling. Even though it may be hard at times, I've never regretted my decision. I have to go. Commander, you wish to talk to me? Alright, the glowing croissant recipe.
We should move.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
The young cleric stands before an easel, his brush hovering over the canvas without touching it. Instead of painting, the young man absentmindedly gazes at the sky of Canabris, which is still streaked with towering plumes of black smoke. Finally, he notices you and smiles, shaking off his stupor.
It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
Who are you, and how could you possibly be of use to my army?
My name is Sosiel. I am a cleric of Shaylin, the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy.
Sosiel smiles with embarrassment.
I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander. We just have to. It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
But what are you painting? The cleric's eyes linger mournfully on the canvas. The unfinished painting depicts a temple crowned with a rainbow-tailed bird, the symbol of Shaylin. 5 people dressed in robes stand before the temple. Men and women, young and old. They all gaze back at you with radiant happiness and joy in their serene eyes.
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help and then... they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead, I met Queen Galfrey on my way to Nerosian, and hurriedly returned to Canabris, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple.
The cleric shakes his head in sorrow.
I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
Sosiel touches the edge of the canvas gently, as if patting a friend's shoulder in consolation. They fulfilled their duty honorably.
They did more than their duty. They gave everything they had to save others. Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
What made an artist enlist in the army?
Perhaps I am a true artist, or simply an amateur who defaces canvases in my spare time. My goddess is a patron of art, so painting is part of my prayer, and I put all my heart into my pieces. But I am a cleric above all else, so I must also tend to others. I went to war because here's where I'm most needed. Sure, I could be painting idyllic landscapes and offering empty prayers to my goddess, but that won't stop people from dying. My goddess has no tolerance for false piety.
So he's not just going to offer thoughts and prayers. You wanted to discuss something with me, right?
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Canabris behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort. I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
It was nice meeting you. Now I have to go.
You must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you? Tell me about yourself. To be honest, I don't have much to tell, as all this pops up. I had done little with life until I met you, but if you want to know anything, just ask. Where are you from? From Andoran. I grew up on the outskirts of Carpendon, a large rich city surrounded by gardens and vineyards. Just imagine, miles and miles of greenery and fragrant orchards. Sosiel inhales with pleasure, if he could still sense the aromas of his faraway homeland. My family had a small winery. I worked there from a young age. I pressed juice, did a little carpentry, painted. And one day I discovered I could do more with paint than simply cover walls with it. There's a temple of Shaylin nearby. My brother and I would often spend our days there, listening to music and enjoying the stained glass windows. As a boy, my brother decided to devote himself to serving the Eternal Rose. My parents hoped that at least I would remain to run the family business, but he makes an apologetic gesture and flashes a disarming smile. It can't be helped. The goddess called me too. It's alright. I have plenty of cousins, second cousins, and other relatives. When this war is over, I'll go back there and see how they're doing. So you're an artist? The cleric smiles shyly. That's too grand a word for it. But yes, I love to paint and know how to. Of course, a crusade isn't the best place for art. What I managed to draw here is at best sketches. I hope when this war is over, I'll be able to turn them into real paintings. Fascinating. May I see your sketches? And there's nothing special in them, but if you're really interested. Sosiel hands you a folder filled with pencil sketches. You recognize familiar fighters in some of the portraits. The cleric drew them without flattery, just as they are. But beneath the features that seem boring and even ugly in life, Sosiel's hand has found some inner beauty, power, and dignity. The tired faces of soldiers covered with wrinkles and scars resemble an army of angels. There are landscapes in the folder as well. At first you don't understand why those blooming hills, shady groves, and shimmering springs seem so familiar. But you've passed by these places as you traveled around the world wound, that you saw them darkened and made by demonic influence. Sosiel's pencil has restored them to their former beauty, which the demons stole from them, and which the Crusaders are fighting to return. Instead of working as a craftsman, you decided to serve a deity. An interesting turn of fate. Sosiel nods with a smile. Some clerics are proud of their tender hands, which have never touched anything heavier than a brush. But there's nothing ugly about hard-earned calluses. Indeed, I should say that saving the world is easier with strong hands. The smile disappears from Sosiel's face, and he looks down, adding, I'm sorry these hands couldn't save the people who died in Canabras. How did you end up in Canabras? A grim shadow falls over the cleric's face. I was hoping to find Trevor in the city, my brother. After my brother took his vows and was ordained a paladin of Shaylin, he departed for the crusade. He wrote home often about everything he saw, his battles, the people he helped. From his letters, I learned that he had joined the Eagle Watch in Canabras. As soon as letters became infrequent, and then they stopped altogether. We feared news of his death, but silence was our only answer. Not a word from him, or from his command, or his brothers in arms. Nothing. In the end, I couldn't wait any longer and came here myself to find Trevor, if he's still alive. Or his grave, if he should have perished. But my brother seems to have vanished. I tried asking the other paladins, but they refused to talk to me. It's very much like they're trying to avoid the need to lie. I sent official requests to their order's command. Still I wait in vain for an answer. I joined the local church of Shaylin, hoping to find out the truth one day, but the city was attacked by demons. When your brother was preparing to become a paladin of Shaylin, did he learn some kind of art too? Yes. Sosiel smiles warmly. He's always been a good wood carver. Toys, whistles, window frames. Our house was the most beautiful in the area, all dressed in his wooden filigree. From the railing on the stairs to the wonder bird on the roof. I said woof. You show commendable persistence. In the face of such trouble, most would give up the search and leave. Yes, persistence. The cleric's eyes stare into the distance. You know, I got that from my brother. Trevor never gave up. If he had to wait, he waited. If he had to use force, he did. When he fell, he always got up. He got me up too, though I was so much weaker than him. I could never betray everything he taught me. How'd you end up at the court of Queen Galfrey? The cleric looks down. When the city was attacked by demons, there was a hospital in our church. Every one of us was prepared to fight to the last, to cover the evacuation. But our Mother Superior wouldn't let me join the fight. She sent me for help, and everyone who stayed was killed. Why did she choose me? Maybe it's because I was new, the youngest and least experienced of the clerics, and I wouldn't be much help in battle. Or maybe she's given me the chance to survive while the rest of them bravely died. Shaylin be my witness, I did not ask for this. I'd be honored to lay down my head next to theirs. I ran to the closest Mandavian garrison. I don't know by what miracle I got there. There were demons all around, and everything was on fire. I remember my horse was killed right under me while I fought off some shrieking monsters. But when I came to, I woke among friends. My first thought was that it must be a dream. In my delirium, Queen Galfrey herself was dressing my wounds. But it was true. It was the Queen herself, tending to a lowly warrior. That's how I ended up in her army. I marched with them back to Canabras, to the ruins. How do you manage to always look like you're on your way to a tea party, not a battle? Sosiel looks down, for a few moments searching in silence for the right words. At last he softly replies, When I first got here, to the world wound, you know the word terror doesn't convey half of what I felt. The land itself here is maimed and mutilated, desecrated. But more frightening still is what the war does to people. to their bodies and souls. Every knight shining armor, there are 100 warriors whose souls are maimed with fear, suffering, and cruelty. Many have forgotten why they're here, and now know only war. When there's a break in the fighting, they drain themselves into oblivion and wallow in the mud. They're rotting alive and don't even seek help. They gave up on themselves a long time ago. Sosiel looks you in the face. You see the pain in his eyes. Don't misunderstand me. I don't condemn them. Quite the opposite. I want to help. And to do so, I must look after myself first. Not only to treat and support them, but to remind them that there's something else besides war. There's a normal world out there. A place where blood doesn't stain the ground and people don't sleep in trenches. A place where, as you said, they even occasionally have tea parties. The cleric smiles, but his eyes seem sad. I for one condemn those animals you describe. If soldiers let themselves slide like that, they should be ashamed of their lack of discipline and dignity. You're too strict with your subordinates. Perhaps you have the right to be, if you place the same strict demands on yourself. But know this. Humanity can't be beaten into people with a stick. No number of military drills can restore someone's strength and hope. I try to remind people who they are, why they're here, and what they're fighting for. I remind them that their suffering is not in vain. What is a servant of the Goddess of Beauty doing in a war zone? I'm doing what the Goddess is what the Goddess destined for me to keep our fighters safe. I'm confident in our victory. The gods of good are on our side, so we cannot fail. But victory is not enough. I do whatever I can to help those who are holding off the forces of the Abyss, so they may live long enough to see victory, without losing themselves along the way. Every one of our soldiers deserves a home where people love them and are waiting for their return. When our soldiers are finally able to go home, on that day, I may earn the right to lay down my weapons forever. Yeah, I'll say this. It's flirting, but your art is so touching. Perhaps I could pose for a portrait sometime, just you and me. Sosio becomes flustered and struggles to find the right words. Finally, he brings his emotions under control and offers you a smile. Of course, if only you'd allow... It'd mean a lot to me. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Thank you for telling me about yourself. Sosio nods to you with a smile. Tell me about your brother. Trevor. He's always been my hero, ever since we were children. I was a coward, always telling petty lies, always running away from danger. Trevor always ran toward it. He had this saying, an army stands until peace comes, a lie stands until the truth comes out. He never lied, never let injustice pass. Never. The cleric's voice trembles and breaks, and he shakes his head. He was 8 when he said he was going to be a paladin. He always went toward that goal, day after day, never looking back. I remember the day he went off to fight. I thought, this is it. The war will finally end. Trevor will defeat all the demons and close the world wound. But Sosio gestures helplessly. Thank you for talking to me. My pleasure. Good afternoon, Commander. How can I help you?
We do it my way.
We'll skip Darren for right now.
Hello. So, what do you reckon about everything that's come crashing down on us? All the responsibility, command, this new power?
Sela looks anxious. She's holding her sword, but her movements seem nervous. The girl doesn't even notice you at first, but when she does, she smiles cheerlessly and stops what she's doing. I haven't figured it out yet. We'll see what happens next.
Watching and waiting is a good strategy. Probably. I'm still frightened by what happened in the Grey Garrison. Were we really chosen? By Iomade herself? You know, back when I was a snot-nosed kid who just started down the path to becoming a paladin, I imagined once or twice that I was going to do something heroic. The lights would shine down on me, the trumpets would sing, I'd hear the voice of the goddess, or at least her herald, you know, I'd be informed that I had been chosen for a great cause. But that's the point where my imagination always failed me. Somehow, it really happened. Without all the trumpets or the herald or even anyone explaining what I had to do. Though it's clear as day, my place is here, in this demon-ridden wound. Quite a lovely war going on, in fact. Endless, I hear. I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around this. Spare me an hour and I'll crawl into some dark corner and whine about my hard lot. What can I tell you? I cry easily.
Sela sighs, then laughs weakly. Alright, let's go talk to Camellia. I'll knock out all the companions with one line of dialogue, and the next time we'll speak to Darren and Nura.
Follow if you dare.
Well, I hold off on talking to Obrig as well. I think he gives us a quest at this stage. Let's buy the Conman's Ring. This ring grants us wearer a +5 competence bonus on all perception and trickery skill checks. That's really good to have. Some of these are new, actually. So Cape of Pest Control. This Cloak of Resistance +2 grants the wearer DR5 against all swarms attacks. Red Salamander. If the wearer of this ring has the ability to cast spells spontaneously, it grants them the ability to cast the following spells: Fireball, Controlled Fireball, Fire Snake, Hellfire Ray, Firestorm, and Fiery Body. To cast a spell, the wearer still needs to have a spell slot of the required level. A Bookworm's Headband is a really good item, especially for one of the areas we have to go through called Leper's Smile. This headband grants its wearer a +2 enhancement bonus to intelligence score and immunity to all compulsion effects. However, it also inflicts a -2 penalty to charisma score and a -3 penalty on all persuasion skill checks. So not great for our paladins, but another frontliner who has to fight the swarms in Leper's Smile will take benefit greatly from that. A Specialist Belt. Whenever the wearer of this belt uses a scroll or potion, it gives +1 to its caster level. This is pretty good on Nenio if you lean into the Scroll Savant side of her class and actually use scrolls, which I always forget to do. Icy Protector. This ring grants the wearer cold resistance 10. If the wearer has the Ice Plant Hex, which Camellia does, it also grants them +2 natural armor bonus to armor class. Arachnid Goggles. This leather band is studded with dozens of faceted crystals of varying size, 2 of which fit over the eyes. When wearing these goggles, the wearer uses all the crystals as eyes, gaining all-around vision and cannot be flanked. So that is a new item I haven't seen before. A War Kilt of Serenray. A favorite item among the dervishes of Serenray. The skirt of overlapping, brightly colored silk is magically reinforced, granting increased durability and mobility. It grants its wearer a +2 natural armor bonus to armor class and a +4 competence bonus on mobility checks. That's pretty good. Especially for a mounted character. Because you use your mobility skill as a... If you have, was it Mounted Combat? Is that the name of the feat? Where you ignore an attack. Cape of Fainting. This hooded cape is crafted from fine fabric with colorful embroidery and an elegant weasel fur trim. The cape grants its wearer a +2 bonus on feint checks. Alright, Woljif will have this for now.
I'm off.
The elf before you casually rests his bandaged arm on the weapon at his side. He bows his head with dignity. I congratulate you on your new rank, Commander. My hunt demanded that I travel with your army. Naturally, I wouldn't burden your forces with the need to care for an outsider. I provided myself with all the necessities. Fair enough.
I do what I must.
Alright. So I think Nenio may have a lengthier conversation. I think Obrig gives us his next companion quest here as well. Camellia, I believe, is having a conversation with Horgus, so that'll be a slightly longer conversation. So, I think I'm going to call it here. Next time we should wrap up talking to everybody, so we have to talk to Obrig, Ember, Nenio, Lan, Camellia, Darren, and Nura. And Irabeth. So, still a few conversations ahead. Sosiel kind of bogged us down this time because we had to get to know him. But the rest of the conversations shouldn't be that long. So, I'm going to call it here for now. Next time we'll wrap this up at the camp and then set out for Zacharias' cemetery for Sosiel's quest. Because that is the closest location to us currently. But either way, for now, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.